Yame, go ahead.
Oh, yes. Yesterday was good. I did wonder whether during the day when we're doing the dhatu meditation open through the breath, open eyes, um, I guess we just go with the flow with what we observe. Do we have to throughout the day go through all the different dhatus, or what if you ended up with maybe just the tejo dhatu for the whole day? That's okay. Or do some people say that you should do all to have a little bit of a balance? Otherwise, too much of one element is not good.
Yes, they're right. You shouldn't be doing that. If it is untenable, you should stop it. Meaning, if see, it all depends on the sati, meaning awareness. So the awareness, if it is not there, focusing on one single dhatu, it doesn't make any sense. Rather, you watch the breath. If that is not possible, then watch whatever you're doing. That's what Buddha talks in that Mahaparinibbana Sutta, that when Ananda asks, what about how do we deal with women? Then he says, don't look at them. What if I have to look at them? And then don't talk. And what if I have to talk? Then be mindful. Meaning, be aware that you are talking to a lady or a woman. In the same way, be aware of whatever you're doing. Let's say you're eating or standing or baking or moving or whatever you're doing, right? In the whole day, whatever events you're doing, you be on that rather than the dhatu. Okay, the best thing is a dhatu, but then if for whatever reason it's not possible, then there's no point in troubling oneself that let me do the dhatu. Makes no sense, right? So let's drop it off because it makes no sense. Okay. See, one thing I was talking to Ari also yesterday is that one should not put effort. You should put effort to remove effort. If it is effort, it's driven by effort. Now I want to watch Tejo Dhatu or Vayu Dhatu or whatever it is. It's a futile attempt. It's not going to work out because it is not seamless. It's like, uh, what I'm recording now. It's a seamless thing. I'm not every 5 minutes or 2 minutes looking at whether it's recording or not recording. It's recording, it's not recording. What would happen? It would be such a distraction, number one, and number two, it's a pain, right? So it's just imagine that every few moments I need to go and see whether it's recording or not. Is that a worth thing to do? And yes, Saryu.
Could you say in a way that this vitaka should become vichara automatically in that way?
No, it is avittaka vichara samadhi, not vittaka vichara samadhi, right? You can't have a vitakka vichara samadhi. That's no samadhi at all. Okay. It is savitakka savichara, not vitakka vichara. Okay. Now, when it comes to dhatu, I might have a vitakka thinking, not thinking actually, is debating, should I watch Tejo? Should I watch Vayu? Should I watch Pathavi? Should I watch Apo? Should I watch Akasa? Then how should I watch? If at all I have to watch. So then comes into thinking, vitakka and vichara. Is that a good thing to do? No, it's not. You are far away from anything called as samadhi itself. It becomes an intellectual gamble, if I could say that, I'm watching Apo now, I'm watching Tejo now, I'm watching this now, that now. No, it is just intellectual. They are not watching anything actually. What you are doing is you are thinking on how to watch it rather. And that's what is happening. You are not watching. Watching is an effortless thing. It's just free flowing. There's nothing to be done in watching. But you have to do a lot of things to get the watching thing, right? That watching thing is a dhamma. And all dhammas cannot be sustained. Not dhamma as in teaching, dhamma as in a thing. So can never be sustained. So you shouldn't do that, May. That okay, let me only take Tejo Dhatu, as though Tejo is for real for you. That means what you're trying to say is that apart from Tejo, there's no other Dhatu. No, that's more of an intellectual vomiting, if I could use that word, than anything. Yes.
What I mean is, let's say you notice Tejo Dasu for an hour, and then it can move on. Like it'll just move on from its own. You don't force it to move into a different Datu.
No, it's not like that at all. May, I don't know what do you mean by 1 hour. There's nothing called as 1 hour, right? There's no time and space constructs saying that okay, let me watch Tejo for 1 hour, and the next hour it will be Patavi. The next hour I'll no, not nothing like that. You have to have a starting point. The starting point can be either Patavi or it can be whatever, but it will automatically keeps on. It just seamlessly goes. I really don't have to do anything to do that. And literally, in my personal thing, what I'm doing, I don't do anything like what you're trying to explain to me. No, it's just free flowing. It's fun actually. Yes, sir, you go ahead.
But I wonder if May can always discern the heat and the cold in different things all the time. Is that what? I don't know if that's what May means by Tejo, let's say.
No, the discerning, yes. So let me answer to what you say, Aryu, and then we will leave May to explain whatever she wants to explain. So, what is discernment? Discernment is to see what is real and what is unreal, right? So, when I come to the quality of a heat, it is cold and warm. That anybody need not be a Buddha follower to know that much. I'm feeling hot and I'm feeling cold. No, that's not what Buddha talks about. Like she rightly put yesterday in the chat, kalapa. That's the right way of seeing. You should see how this element has transformed itself into a Tejo Dhatu instead of Patvi Dhatu or Apo Dhatu, like that. And it's a real investigation. It's got nothing to do with I'm feeling hot and I'm feeling cold. Now I'm feeling like this, I'm feeling like that. That's not what it is. Yes, May, go ahead. Now it's your chance.
No, what I just meant is through the breath. So like I read, you should try and cycle through all the dhatu so that you don't have one dhatu which is very predominant. But I find that when I'm doing the dhatu in the breath, so I can just I'm very aware of the patui when it's like say a very physical thing like on the arm and everything. But in the breath, I find I guess that light and heavy breath I still find a little bit difficult. I can notice subtle breath, stronger. Well, I guess you could say heavy is strong breath. Subtle breath I be aware of, and then then the warm and cold air and the apo again. I'm aware of that, but it might not be as dominant throughout the day as the other ones. So I was wondering, should it be very even or not, or is it a problem if you have a dominance of one of the dhatus as you are meditating throughout the day? Because you said also not to force it to change to a different dhatu. So I was wondering if you are very predominant in one of the dhatus, should you then try and be more aware of a different dhatu if that was happening?
No, if it is predominantly Tejo Dhatu, then it's okay. But in reality, it doesn't happen that way. It's not indriyas to have a predominance or one or the other. The dhatus have no predominance. I mean, they don't have any power to dominate over you or to the chitta, right? They don't. They come together and collapse together. I'm not able to understand how Tejo Dhatu can be predominant and that makes you not to see any other dhatu. So here is another method. If this breath thing is not working, you have to go by the Satipatthana Sutta or the Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta, where you should start observing your body. instead of the breath. And then discern the Patavi Dhatu, Apo Dhatu, Tejo Dhatu, Vayu Dhatu, Akasa Dhatu. And then we come to Vijnana Dhatu. Right? So that's how we need to do. So let me give some examples, illustration. Let's say I'm gone on a walk. Mornings I go on a walk. What is a walk? Can you tell me what's a walk?
Movement. Why that?
Nice. Walk is just a movement, right? Who is moving?
The body.
Body, right? What does the body consist of? 5 dhatus.
All the other elements.
5 dhatus. So what is actually moving?
5 dhatu.
If you can stay in that, you will immediately get the bliss. You really don't have to discern, this is Tejo Dhatu, now I'm feeling hot, now it is cold. After that, it will become Patavi, then after it becomes Apo. No. Right? So now I'm walking. What is walking? You are not walking. There's no you to walk. Dhatus are moving. They are not walking. Yeah, I can tell that it is walking. Like, my hand is moving like this. But what actually is happening? Now let's go one by one. With the intention of moving, which is appearing in the chitta, there's an intention to move the arm in the chitta. Chitta then makes the rupa change. So what it is changing first? First thing that comes is the movement, which is Vayu. And then when the Vayu moves in, it has to move what? It has to move the Patavi, it has to move the Apo, it has to move the Tejo, and the space has changed from here. If I move like this, the space has become spacious here. And the space, this part of the hand has taken over that. So it was spacious earlier. Now it is filled with this arm. Now it falls down. Now what happened there? That space is reclaimed back and this space is gone. So what you can see, every moment you are giving up space or taking space, then giving up space and taking space, giving up space and taking space. So where are you? Not to be found. You got the point? So if I were to do a walking meditation, I would do that way rather than concentrating. This is lifting, lifting, lifting. This is keeping, keeping, keeping. This is bending, bending, bending. That seems weird because I'm putting pressure on the mind to see the bending. And what will it see? Pajanana is to know. What to know? Who is doing it? It's not who is doing it. It is the Mahabhuta by themselves. That's the reason it's called Mahabhuta. Because Maha is high, bigger. Bhuta is the element. So it keeps on changing. See now, the moment there's an intention to move like this, intention is in the chitta, which is the mind. So there's an intention to move like this. And what it does change the dhatu. There's an intention to speak. And what it does, it vibrates. What vibrates? Within the space here, there's a space element or space akasa dhatu. Akasa will have sound. Right? The quality of akasa is sound. The quality of patavi is heart. The akasa will produce sound. In space, there is sound. If there were no space, no sound can be heard. Right? So, when I'm walking, the awareness should be on who is walking, not on Pathavi Dhatu and Apo Dhatu and Tejo Dhatu and all that. That looks weird. That's not the way to practice at all. You're putting pressure. So then what happens? You drop the other elements and only take one element and you think, oh, with one element I can do it. No, you are far away from Dhamma itself. You have to discern all the 5 elements together. All the 5 elements. It's not that today is Wednesday, so let me take only Apo element and then after a few days I will come with the Tejo element and after a few days let me... No, that's absolutely wrong. If this is not working, then you take the entire body, do that Iriyapabba. 4 postures only. Don't have to trouble yourself with many postures. Just 4 postures. When there is bending, what is bending? Are you bending? I can say, yes, I am bending, but what exactly is happening? The body is bending. The body consists of what? 5 elements. With the intention of bending, the chitta modifies the entire 5 elements and leaves it. So the body will be bent like this till heat generates. And when the heat generates, it is pain. Why? Because the Vayu space has no space now. Like it was like this. So the space was going easily. There's movement. Now you brought these two together. So when these two are together, where will the air go? It gets heated up. It starts rubbing like this. So when it starts rubbing like this, it's called inflammation. We use that word in medicine. Inflammation. That means there is an inflamed. It's burning. So when it burns, what happens? The tissue which was solid now turns semi-solid, which is almost like liquid. So it takes space now. So when that tissue also takes space, and this you are also doing this, then what is the natural reaction to that? The nervous system knows only pain and pleasure. So in the brain, it triggers a wave. It says pain, 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 pain. Something is wrong. Address it. Something is wrong. Address it. Then what happens? The chitta, now which is done like this, will now release it back. It's fun actually to see how the chitta does it. That's the reason Buddha says mano pubbangama dhamma, mano setta manomaya. So this is happening in the mind. The physical changes, if I were to see, the root cause is the mind. It's not in the body. So the intention of bending, intention of walking, intention of standing, intention of lying, like that, is an intention, chetana. And that is a sankhara. Yes, May, you wanted to say something.
Anu.
Oh, Aryu. Okay, sorry.
No, I was curious if you're sleeping and a mosquito bit you and it's swelling. Is the mind involved in any way?
Yes, it does. How? So it's a good question. Very nice. I appreciate it. My wife has given you thumbs up for that question. She's sitting next to me and you can't see it because of the screen. So we have a screen guard. So nobody can see who is sitting behind, front, back, whatever it is. Anyway, coming back to this. Yes. So when a touch happens, who knows it? Who knows it? Mind knows it. So when the mosquito bites means what? What's happening? It pierces, it sucks fluid. The body, what it will do? Once there is something removed, it will push. So the red blood corpuscles. Now there is a mechanism in it. It's a binding. When the binding is lost, it starts binding back. So in that place, there's a little bit of inflammation. Now, how you know it's inflamed is because there is a bump on the skin. You can have three kinds. One kind, a simple irritation. What is irritation? Is that there is a little bit of burning sensation in that, but it is majorly cool. Okay, because the water element is there and there's no patvi there, so it is not getting that irritated. A little bit of irritation. And then the second thing is that there's a reaction, meaning it gets more heated up. As it gets more heated up, the space gets consumed. So the water will start pouring inside and then jams over there. It's not able to move out. So the reaction is to scratch. Okay. And that's the reason you have to read Kajaniya Sutta. Scratching. Now this is happening. Who is scratching? I can say I'm scratching. No, you're not scratching. What are you doing? You're applying external burning so that the internal burning reduces. How? Because you're pushing the water to move out from there. So on what happens? When it moves, the remaining things takes over. So it was earlier Patavi, then it became Apo, then it became Tejo, and then it started moving Vayu. It picked up the Akasa. So now what was once a free space is filled up by something. So we'll say fluid have got accumulated. And we take it at such a nice way of explaining it, right? Now nobody asks, can you tell me how it got accumulated? It means space was always there. So hence you can become fat and lean because space was always there. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I understand some of the process you were describing later, but initially, this mechanism of the
The
space,
mind knows it.
the mind knows, and is it the mind commanding it to happen in that way?
Yes. So it only knows two things. It knows pleasure and pain and neutral. So when nothing is touching, it is in neutral state. When something is touching, it becomes, knows that it is either pleasure is touching or it is pain which is touching. And if you have gone through Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta, he explains what is Vijnana. Dhatu of Vijnana. We were supposed to take that. Yes, Aryu.
I guess in an abstract sense, right? Because this body is the four element plus space plus vijnana, and when the vijnana is there, it's not there. Nothing happens to the dhatu, right? They're
Exactly.
just, right. Which means if it's understood in that way, that means everything happens here involves the vijnana. But you could say it's unconscious or whatever, because it's not an intention that you're saying, bump, like grow like that, right? There's no intention for a kid to grow up, yet it's in vijnana involved.
There is an intention of movement. Otherwise, you can't move.
Yeah, but the kid did not intend to grow up, for example, like get taller.
No, that is the conceptualization. That's the nama and rupa. That you don't have any control over. But does the child know that it has to suck the breast of the mother, or are you teaching it? It knows. It knows how to get the food. all beings know how to get the food. That's the reason what Buddha says. Sabbe satta aharattika. That means it knows. Vijnana knows how to get the food. And hence Vijnana is one more ahara. Yes, go ahead.
So when you say when it's namarupa, which you don't have control, you meant to say in the way, let's say a being become a female because of the iti indriya, which is the conceptualization that happens at a subtle level, which may not involve like a conscious thought of a kid to
Not
grow
like
up.
that. Not like that. What I meant is the child wanting to grow tall. The tallness and shortness is a concept. So yatha dhiga rasa anuthula shubha ashubha. That's coming in the Vijnana as a concept.
Which contributed to this person growing tall and short because they are different body type, and it's in the chitta in this.
So the chitta feels like, I want to grow hair. So there is feeling in the chitta. So I think we are muddling up everything now. So let's cut off. And when we come to Vijnana, we'll talk about that. But for now, what May has asked for is that you need to discern how are you walking, how are you standing, how are you sitting, how are you lying down. The how portion. That will answer to you who is that who is doing it. Is it you who is doing it, or the body is doing it? And the body is definitely doing it. If you can't do it, there's a pain. So to then go to the doctor to relieve you from the pain. Let's say I'm gone on a walk and then I can't walk because there's a catch in my knee or a catch in my ankle or whatever it is. Now what happens? It's a 5 element. But the Vijnana knows the pain. It's aware. Because it's not able to move. The consciousness is not able to move around freely in the body. So it shows up as pain. But actually what is happening? The space is constricted. It has got swollen. When we say the word use swollen, what it means? It's a swelling. Means what? It's filled up with water. Isn't it a sufficient evidence that you can discern all the 5 elements? You can. May you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm using some medical thing also. Becomes easy for you. Is that right? What I'm saying about swelling? Right? So the water comes in. It gushes in. Basically. Mm-hmm. Yes, Sachin, you wanted to say something?
No.
Okay. So, what is that I can meditate upon then? In this dhatu. What is that I can meditate? If I am doing it a whole day, I need to first have sati. Then anything else in the world, whether I can see or I can't see, is a separate issue. But can I not bring in the, what we can say, awareness? If I am unaware, nothing can be done because the mind now goes into investigating it. And now investigation will not help anyone, me or you or anyone. It is nothing to do with investigation. It's observation, not investigation. So first I need to observe. Then there's peace. And there is peace. Now you can see how. That brings you to vipassana. That will give you an insight. What is happening? Now what is happening? Now what is happening? Now what is happening? Right? And that brings you to the anupassana. Because you see you are not there. It's just the elements are coming and then elements are going. The Vijnana is coming and the Vijnana is going. So then you don't have anything to do with any one of them. It's so nice. And then you can discern anicca, dukkha, anatta, nibbidda, viraga, nirodha, patinisagga. That state is anupassana. So now you are doing kaye, kaya anupassi viharati. Vedanasu vedananupassi viharati. Chitte chittanupassi viharati. Dhamme dhammanupassi viharati. Because now the sati is established. Completely established. It doesn't go anywhere. Any movement, it knows there is a movement. Now that's how I need to practice all the time. Then I have discerned dhatu, vibhanga, division. I am now saying this is Patavi dhatu, this is Apo dhatu, this is Tejo dhatu, this is Vayu dhatu, this is Akasa dhatu. And now we come to the Vijnana dhatu. Any questions? Yes, sir. You.
Yeah, I think your video is lagging a little bit, but I have the beginner question about this vipassana, right? So in the samatha, let's say you're observing the breath also, right? And then it's also observation. But in this vipassana, you're still observing, but you're in depth observing and discerning. So I guess I don't understand the exact.
Okay. So now you come to the Burmese method, which is good. So I think Sachin can also contribute to this. Now, what happens here? This, what we are talking, is very difficult. So the best way is to sit and meditate. Because now you're not going anywhere, right? So what you would basically do is you watch the breath for as many days as you want. And you bring your awareness to this portion of your nose. All the hours, which we call it as meditation, all the hours. So let's say I start at 4:30 to 6 o'clock, 1.5 hours. I'm just observing this area. Now my question comes, why don't I observe my navel and this and no, that doesn't work. You have to stick to something. So now I stick to this, only this portion. Why? Because it has very sensitive here. Sensitivity touch is the maximum in the nose. So I can utilize that. So now I practice it. Now what happens on vipassana, on the body? Now I am seeing, is there anything happening here? Anything, can be anything. Can be irritation, can be some kind of, vibration or pulsation or whatever, itchy or something moving around, some air going up and down, whatever it can be. I keep on watching this much portion. Let's take scalp and a whole scalp. That's my place to contemplate. Not on Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu and all that. No. Just this feeling what I'm getting here. What is that feeling? Is it instead of calling it as a sukha and dukkha, I'm trying to see the different sensations which are coming on the head. Then I move to the back. Then I see what is happening in the back. But when I come to the back, the sensation here keeps on changing. And so the sensation here. And then I come to the back and the front and till the leg, till the feet. And again go back from the feet to the head, head to feet, feet to the head, head to the feet, which is called as scanning. So you're scanning what is happening, basically. in the whole body. You are not naming anything. You are not changing anything. You are not predicting anything. You are just watching, just a watching, a witness of whatever sensation that is coming onto the body, whatever it can be. Pleasant sensation, unpleasant sensation, neutral sensation, this sensation, that sensation, no naming. Now it is here, there is some itchy sensation. Don't rub it. No reaction. Okay, good. Now I found there is some itchy sensation. Oh, there is some pulsation here. Okay, good. Now that means the whole head, whole neck area, whole body, meaning the thigh, the chest, the back, then the arms, hands, everywhere, there is no area where there is no sensation at all. And then it turns itself into a pleasurable kind, which is free flow. So you will not have any place where your mind cannot see the sensation. Yes, Harry, go ahead.
So let's say this first part of watching the breath, we call it samatha. And the second part, we call it vipassana. Okay? So other than the object to observe being different, the observing itself, is it different?
See, if you keep on investigating like this, you will get, I can answer to this. I have no problem in this case, but you will not get what you are trying to look at, because the observer and the observed. If you take your observing, then it lands up in a mess. But yes, you are observing. You are observing. You are indeed observing. So I can call the mind itself is observing itself. That's one way of putting it. There are various ways of putting it also. But yes, there is an observation. And what is being observed? It's the sensation which is being observed. The Vedana is being observed. Right? So you take Vedana as the object of observation. That's also fair. And hence the Burmese tradition works wonders, because you are not going anywhere. You are sitting in one place and just observing and observing and observing, which is what we are trying to do through Dhatu Vibhanga, right? We are not actually doing anything different. But in the Burmese method or in the Vipassana method, you need to go to a retreat or do something at your house or wherever and do the exact thing what is being said, but then only your mind can discern it. If I just do it for 10 minutes or half an hour or whatever it is, no. Only gross sensation would be known. The subtle sensations will never get a chance to come. So they add another thing on that. They say the sensation which comes in the way of sankharas are coming as sensation. So if you react to the sensation, it's like reacting to the sankhara. So the sankharas come on the surface, stay for few as much as it can, and goes away. Then a fresh set of sankhara comes, and that stays and goes away. So like that, you are clearing off sankharas, which is true. Even with dhatus, you are doing the same thing. Even with the vipassana of Goenka or Ubakin, you are doing the same thing. Yes.
The point is, do not compare, do not investigate any meditation method. Point is, take any object, take yellow color kasina, take dhatu, take breath, take sensation. The point is, your practice is being undistracted with that is the first. And it is not 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It may take years of effort, right? It's like mindfulness. Like if you are climbing a tree, and tree is like 100 foot tall, the higher and higher you go, there is no scope for thinking, because if you think, you will fall down. That kind of sharpness is required. Forget about investigation. This is apo, this is apo, this is vayu, tejo, nothing. Just this is breath is also investigation, right?
Correct.
Just this is body is also investigation. Just this is Vedana, Samvedana is also investigation. Can you stay with even that level of investigation? Yes, this is Vedana. Yes, this is bodily sensation. Can you stay with that? Can you discern that it is just bodily sensation and nothing other than that? Right? Forget about it is made of apo, vayu, tejo, whether this sensation is actually a Pathvi sensation, whether this sensation is Pathvi plus apo, whether this is vayu plus Pathvi, this and that, right? This is too much of investigation using your mind. Investigation doesn't mean that. Investigation means, yes, it is what you can discern. Right now, you can discern it is just a sensation. So it is just a sensation, nothing else. And thing is, practice ask very simplicity. You need to be dumb person when you practice. Just one thing is sufficient. This is sensation. This is breathe. That's all. Can you investigate? This is breathe again and again. This is breathe again and again. If you take apo, tejo, vayu, this and that, it's okay. But can you do it 24/7 without getting bored, without getting distracted? That is most important. So the primary focus of any of us, whether you do 2 hour sitting meditation, do it 24/7. Take one thing which is very simple, which you can discern, right? If something you take very subtle than you are gross person, let's say. You can only discern this is breath. Then don't go, this is up, this is vayu, this is tejo. If you can at least see one thing in the breath, even though there are all the element in the breath, I can easily say Pathvi. Because why? Because it is touching my nose. I can feel the touch, which is Pathvi. Sufficient. It is made of everything else. But the point is, even that is not required. This is just a breath is sufficient. Point is continuous, unbreaking, unwavering, being with that, knowing.
That's correct, Sachin. See, the whole point here is that can we stay with one object without changing, without the need to change the tool? See, we've been talking about this. Don't change the tool. Never change the tool. Till you have investigated completely the tool and you've got the result, what it should come from the tool, don't change the tool. So, dhatu is another tool, which is good one, and it will take you to the final liberation using dhatu. Who says so?
Take
Yes.
one thing for lifetime.
Yes. And you have to, yeah, it can be lifetime, it can be as many months, years, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. But are you convinced on that tool? I can take breath as a tool. Fair. Absolutely nothing stops me from taking breath as a tool. In the same way, I can take dhatu as a tool. I can take ayatana as a tool. I can take whatever I want as a tool. But the secret sauce is you have to stay with that without changing, like what Sachin rightly pointed out, that can we make that tool 24/7? Having no need to go into something else. So that's the question. So when May wanted to know about dhatu, it's good. This is how the practice is. So it's not that you will not be able to see all the 5 elements. You will be able to see all the 5 elements. So there are 3 portions to it. First portion, pariyatti, is to know, is to read and know. So that's what we did. We can use Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta or Maharahulavada Sutta or some Sutta. We know what it is meaning, like Mahasati Patthana Sutta also. Now we know Pariyatti has happened. Patipatti is to take the tool. Now take the tool. Now you have understood, right? Now you have found this tool is good for me. Take it. Patipatti. Then the Pativedan, which is to have an experience of that tool. So first I understood what is this tool. Then I experimented on the tool. And now it is a time to get experience on the tool. Or yeah, I experimented and I got the experience. So Pativedan. Or another way to understand is Sutamaya. That means you understand the theory through Sutta or whatever it is. So Sutamaya Jnana. Chintamaya Jnana. Now you see, you discern, you investigate yourself on that Sutta or whatever you have learned. Bhavanamaya is to actually put it into practice. Bhavana is meditation. So you put it into practice to have a samadhi established through which the panya automatically comes. So Sutamaya, Chintamaya, Bhavanamaya, or Pariyatti, Patipatti, Pativedan. Now, I need to be convinced on the tool. Like if you go through Sadayatana Vibhanga Sutta, you would be tempted to take Ayatana. Fine, that also will help. So if we were to ask, which is the most effective method for me? That nobody can answer. But can you tell me what are the methods available? Yes. First method available is through Satipatthana and in that breath. I don't feel that I'm able to establish in the breath. Okay, drop it, then come to dhatu. Because that's more easy to see. You can do it all the time. Okay, great. Take it. Then I'm not getting this. Then the last one is ayatana, the sense doors. And then in either one of that, you will get it completely. It's very simple. But I need to use a tool. Yes, Saryu, go ahead.
I'm wondering why you said this dhatu as a tool is easier than the breath, because don't you need the breath awareness to enter, samatha before you can get that dhatu?
Yeah, very good question. But the presumption or the expectation is you're always in samatha. If the samatha itself is not there, then see, all of these dhatu and ayatana, the satipatthana is all mostly tending towards the vipassana anupassana, right? The samatha aspect is there. Samatha is only to tranquil the mind. So you can use whatever you want to tranquil the mind. That's it. Then you're coming into vipassana and anupassana. Okay, so shall we move further or shall we get even more on the dhatus before we go into the vinyana? Vinyana is a dhatu.
We'll do the Vinyana Dhatu.
What's that?
Are we still doing the Vinyana Dhatu?
We can do, but if it is overwhelming, we can take slowly and we can finish this and then again get back on the vinyana.
What does it mean to do the vinyana? Means we have to do a 1 hour meditation, or what? What is it?
You need to discern the vinyana. So now, like another good question by you is like, I take the vipassana of Goenka to cite an example. Now the sensations are coming. How does the sensation come? They come because of consciousness. Otherwise, you can't get any sensation, right? So now, can you leave that sensation and only look at the conscious experience you're getting? Then you will know you have discerned sukha as sukha. You have discerned dukkha as dukkha. You have discerned now the neutral adukka sukha as adukka sukha. And having known that, can I now means, can this consciousness be established in the infinite space? and can stay in infinite space. Having understood the infinite space to the complete time, can I now establish the consciousness to be conscious of everything? And yes, I am able to do that. So now I am conscious of everything. Now, having established in this infinite consciousness, can I now get into nothingness? So the ayatana split off. Can I do that? Yes, I can do it. Having done that, can I move into neva sanya na sanyayatana, neither perception nor non-perception? And yes, I've done it. Who has done it? The vijnana knows. So it is the knower of that state. Because it is malleable, it is pure and bright. It can establish wherever there is an opportunity to establish. So it can establish itself in space, it can establish within consciousness, it can establish within the nothingness, it can also establish within neither perception nor non-perception. And that four rupa jhanas is what the vijnana can do. Yes, sir.
So you meant to say when you discern the vijnana dhatu, it's by definition in the arupa jhana.
No, it knows the rupa, it knows the kama, it knows the rupa, it knows the arupa. So by contemplating on the dhatu, what you just now did is to know what exactly is dhatu, and when it has discerned the dhatu, the personality of the person goes away, and when the person goes away, it experiences only spaciousness, right? It knows this is space, and then it experiences itself as itself, which is infinite consciousness. Then it experiences as nothing. It was independent of everything. So then it is nothingness, no thing there. And then it experiences as either non-existing and also existing. Yes, May.
I might be wrong, but does it mean that you have to get to like fourth jhana to experience vijnana dhatu, and then you get to the arupa jhanas that you
One
say?
way to do it is you sit on the floor or wherever you want to sit and bring in the savitakka savichara, bring in a dhamma subject and remove the vitakka vichara. So then you get into the piti, and once you get into the piti, there is joy, which is joy, and then you have sukha. You feel mental and bodily happiness, and then you let go of the mental somanasa, physical sukha, the mental domanasa, and the mental or the bodily dukkha, in order to achieve equanimity, which is the fourth jhana. So I can come into the rupa existence in that. Now, having discerned through the consciousness, this is fourth jhana. Now I can drop this body. So it then experiences the same thing what I'm explaining to you through the dhatu. From then the same. There's no difference. So you want to do the jhanic way, you can do it. You want to do the dhatu way, you can do it. You want to do it through ayatana way, you can do it. Yes.
I have a question. So when you watch the breath to try to get to samatha, this 1 to 4 jhana, is it included in that in some way? Do you have to use a dhamma,
See,
to get it?
now we are talking dhamma. So you don't have to have a savitakka savichara, because you're already in that. Right now, if you see, you will be having little bit of piti also. Right now, you will be feeling a little bit of sukha. Right now, you are also experiencing upekha. But all are in limited quantity. They are not in its proficient form. Let's say after our meeting, we sit. Now we don't have to bring in the Dhamma Vichaya because we already done that. Right? So I don't have to do Savitaka Savichar. I can directly enter into the second jhana, which is Piti. And I can get the third jhana, which is Sukha. Then the fourth jhana automatically happens, which is Upekha. Yes, Harry.
And the question is the same thing achievable by just watching the breath, not nothing, no Dhamma Vishaya?
Yes, you can.
Right? Because it itself is Savitaka and Savichara, right? Just
Yes.
discerning breath,
Yes.
dropping everything else.
Yes.
If you bring Dhamma, it cuts it faster because I guess.
No,
It's a-
whichever tool you use, it doesn't matter. So the fight or the argument shouldn't be which tool should I take. All tool takes you to the same. First, you have to take the tool and stick with that. If you think breath is helping, fine, absolutely fair. There's no second thought about that tool. In fact, that's the most easiest tool you can take.
And the reason we choose breath as per Goenka is because breath and mind are connected. Body and mind are connected. So if you take anything in the body, you can see the mind directly. For example, when you see the breath, the speed of your breath, the grossness of your breath defines the grossness of your mind. If your breath is subtle, your mind is subtle. If there is a jerk in breath, there is a jerk in your mind, right? So indirectly, you are seeing your mind, like you are seeing in the mirror. Like breath is the mirror in which you see the yourself, means consciousness. If anything is disturbing in the breath, the mind is disturbed. If mind is not disturbed, breath is smooth. That's why breath is much easier to control the mind than any other part because it has a flow which tells a lot of things about mind.
Absolutely. Correct. See,
So Sarayatana, the 5 ayatana are available to you, right? But mind, the mana ayatana is not directly available to you. So generally you think and then you realize you thought. But when you observe the breath, you are directly face to face with mano ayatana.
very right, Sachin. And another thing to add to what Sachin is saying is that to discern the Nama and Rupa, there is no other easy tool than the breath. Why? Because the Kaya and the Mano are both interlinked through the breath. So it is better discerning breath than discerning any other thing. But then, that's not the only thing. You can do dhatu, you can do ayatan, you can do whatever. It depends on my mentality. What is easy for me, not what is tough for me. So the Goenka method or the Ubakin method of like this 10-day retreat is good for those people who have difficulty in dhatu and in the ayatana and they don't want to get involved with that so much of understanding. It is better they just understand the breath. And this is the best thing. The most easiest thing to discern is the breath.
And another thing is when you go deeper, you become subtler. So this paradigm you have to understand that you are subtler, you means consciousness, and the object is gross. Or you are gross and object is subtler. You got me? Like some people cannot observe the breath properly. Why? Because their mind is distracted. They are very gross. The mind is gross. And at that time, breath cannot be caught. So we tell them to breathe fast. Right? Then when we go subtle and subtle and subtle, the problem is this avidya is you are directly facing avidya, the boredom, right? When you are try to stay with the neutral feeling, it is always tendency to go up, bubble up to the grossness. So you cannot remain subtle. It's like going deep into the water. You cannot stay there. Your tendency is always to come to the surface, right? So when you are becoming subtle and subtle and subtle, it's tough because you will get very uncomfortable. A question will arise whether I'm doing right, whether I should do something else, this and that, right? So the moment that thing happens, before that you have not stayed with the uncomfort of being subtle. So when you go into the depth, the subtle, you cannot even take a chance of thinking, you cannot even take a chance. Your object is to just stay there. Just stay there. Forget about breathe also. Just stay there. It's not easy because you will come out. When you come out, you will have object, you will have question, you will have thinking, you will have imagination, this and that. So your subtlety, how much subtle you are, has also to be a paradigm of your theme meditation. Somehow you should know that I am subtle. Somehow you should know that I am gross.
Very true. Good one, Sachin. Appreciated.
I think Sachin has become the background teacher.
Yeah, it's
Like-
nice. I feel very happy.
Yeah, he's like the big boss. Only talks when it's necessary.
Yeah. When you have somebody who is talking and talking and talking, a different perspective is always required. Good one. So, final one. What you want to do is up to you. So, you want to take the breath, it's a good thing. If you can't discern the dhatus, leave it. Like what Sachin said, or even in the Ajahn Lee, if you read, just watch the breath. The remaining thing it will do by itself. You don't have to really get understanding each of these dhatus, right?
The funny thing with Ajahn Lee is that I was reading what May was sharing me. He explained the entire Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Noble Path, all in the breath concept only. He just used the breath to explain everything.
Yes. So if you want to do that way, fair, but take that only. Don't take many things and get muddled. But then, look, I want to know. I'm curious. Then you can know. There's nothing, no harm, because that's also a hindrance that if you abruptly try to push it saying that no need, it itself creates a hindrance because it makes it restless. That I want to know. So then you make that as your prime thing to know. So let it like, I'm hungry. I can't say, no, I'm not hungry and stop it. No, I'm hungry. So let me first go and eat. So go and eat. And then it is pacified. Then you start. So something like that, we need to work out on our own strengths and weaknesses, because each one of us have our own strength and weakness. So what works for Sachin might not work for me. What worked for me might not work for Sachin, or what works for Aryu might not work for me. What works for me will not work for Aryu. But what we can do is we can see each other and say that, he got it in this way, let me try. Always, like I was talking to Aryu yesterday night, always don't challenge yourself, I will do it. Just try it. Why don't I do this? Like what Buddha keeps on saying, why don't I do this? He doesn't say, I will do this. Only in the end he said that. But till he went into the Arhat Phala Samapatti, he was saying, why don't I do this? Because you can't force fit. So you just take, why don't I know this? Why don't I do this? Why don't I do this? Try it out. No harm in trying. Try it. Yes, Sachin, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, and your practice should be very simple. or your complexity to come down to be simple. Like I remember that Rajesh Khanna dialogue of Indian movie, right? To be simple is to be happy is very simple, but to be simple is very difficult.
Yes, that's correct.
So your practice should be very, very simple that even a dumb fellow can understand.
True.
So you investigate, you choose, you try out, finally come back home, which is very simple.
Yeah. So final thoughts for me or for anyone. Dhatu. Yes. Lovely quote. Okay.
No.
Yeah, I got it. So for me, especially for me, what is dhatu? This whole body is dhatu. Over. Take it that way. Right? It can't be anything other than dhatu, right? So take it that way. Now, for each posture, see what is happening. Don't worry about whether Patvi is bending or Apo is bending or Tejo is bending. Cut out an equation of you in that bending, standing, walking, blah, blah, all of that. Right? Your mind becomes pure and malleable. It can now discern. It can investigate by itself. Once you start the investigation, which is vipassana, there is no looking back. Or what are you just now informed about Ajanli, which you are following? Do that only. Don't take a new tool unless you think you can handle it. Yes, May, go ahead.
So if you were taking the postures with the dhatu, then how can you discern or get to the Vijnana dhatu? Can you still get it through that way?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, you will get Vijnana very fast, just like even in Ajanli's thing. What are you doing? You are becoming aware of the breath. In the awareness, you are seeing the Four Noble Truths. So who is getting aware? How do you become aware in the first place? Without Vijnana, can you become aware? Right? There's no other Vijnana other than that. So there are two Vijnanas. One Vijnana which comes in the six senses, another Vijnana which is observing, just an observer. So you are more focused on this observer Vijnana rather than the six Vijnana, which arises with the object and it ceases with the object. Right? So if you're watching breath like a third person, yes or no? Ultimately, what is the third person view? Cutting off from the Vijnana of the breath itself, right? Correct. Now, I can argue that it is part of dhatu. And you can argue that no, it is part of breath. Fine. Both are saying the same thing. What does the breath consist of? Same dhatus. But is it subtler or gross? It depends. If your mind is subtle, dhatu is subtle. If the mind is gross, you can't look at the dhatu, but look at the breath. Got it? So it depends on what I choose. Yes, Ari.
How is this discerning of Vijnana Dhatu related to the Chitta Anupassana, which we talked about earlier?
Can I skip it for now?
Get muddled up.
Yeah. See, I can answer. I can provide answer for everything. But I want all of us to experience it rather than knowing it. We have known a lot of things. So let's put it into practice. Let's say we do a guided meditation for 2 hours. I keep on saying it. The mind get used to that. So when it get used to that, without it, it cannot go there. So that becomes dependence. Right? So when it becomes dependent, what happens? You can't grow back, meaning you can't go beyond that. You will only stay there. So for initial, I need to use it, and then I've understood, right? Drop it. Now I have to do it without any tool. We get stuck. So we need to know what to do and drop that. Especially guided things are very good, but they are for limited time only. They are very short and limited. You shouldn't be playing that again and again and again and getting into that thing, because if you were not have that, you can't get into anywhere now. So the mind becomes desperate. It wants it. It become addicted to that. So now you play that cassette or the CD or whatever it is, and then you are comfortable. Shouldn't do that. That's like initial. Yes, Ari, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think it just gives some instructions. I don't think it's very, yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
As soon as you hear to that voice, mind calms down. Like in the Vipassana of Goenka, as soon as you listen to the voice of Goenka, you feel, this is exactly what I wanted. Even though for 1 hour he has not spoken.
I think Mace told me the nun's voice is very nice, has some juice in it.
Fine. We should take it. I'm not discouraging anything at all. In fact, we should do it. After a while, stop it and try to do it yourself. Then slowly eliminate this and be on your own. Then you have transcended that. That's basically it. Okay, so dhatu, this is what you need to do. Even in the breath, you can do it. Not possible. I slightly disagree with what Sachin is saying, that even if you are able to discern one dhatu is good. Yes, as a gross, it is good. But if you want to go subtle, it might become a dependency or even an obstacle. If that whole thing, if that is not working through, completely remove the dhatu thing itself and go back to breath as a meditation object rather than doing partial. Okay, meaning if you want to have breath, take the breath. So don't worry about whether it's Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, whatever it is. Leave it. Yes, May, you have to say something?
I don't know whether you want to answer this or not, but with what I was reading about, if one element became quite dominant, can it cause problems in the body?
It does. It does. So you will get a psychosomatic disorders later. So it is better not to do that.
You become petrified too much if you keep on seeing the Patavi.
No, it's not like that, Aryu. So what happens here is that you're causing imbalance in the body, because what is there in the mind gets copied in the body. So you might have a odd diseases coming in which has no medical thing, but it is only psychosomatic disorders. It's not real disease as such.
I was just joking if you keep on seeing the Patavi.
Yeah, I got it. So I can give one example. Some years back, I think 2 years or more, I had a catch here, this portion. Okay, all the time. No matter what I do, I stretch and do all that, the pain used to be continuous. I went to the doctor. He said there is no problem. No, maybe the muscle. It's only muscular. Nothing to do with skeletal. Meaning I don't have spondylitis or whatever it is, or I'm not sprained it. Here is one pain and the lower back is another pain. These two pain I used to have. Whatever tablets or whatever thing I've taken, it never worked. Even the painkiller, if I take it, it doesn't work. So it's very clear it's a psychosomatic. Okay, now what to do? How do I resolve it? And also I have ACL tear in my knee. So that the pain which comes there is not physical, it is psychosomatic again. Now, how do I resolve it? So I had to literally start working out on each dhatu to see which one I'm putting more pressure on. And the pressure was created due to I want to experience the Vayu Dhatu because I misunderstood the Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta, especially in the sense of Asapasa. I was putting there more effort to see where it touches and what happens and all that. And that created disturbance. So I have had that kind of issues. So it stayed almost like many months. I can't really say how many months, maybe more than 6 months, if I could say. My wife used to always ask me, why are you always in pain? And one other part which is having now pain is this portion, right? I have, if I went to the doctor, if even X-ray is taken, it is perfect. There's no issue with that. So these things can happen, if ultimately if the dhatu or elements get out of balance, then you might have issues. And that's the reason the Sadguru way of doing is good for those people who want to get on dhatu. He teaches the mudras and all that, the yoga postures, which will balance the elements. So he calls it Bhuta Shuddhi, which is the right thing to do. Because then through yogic postures or the asanas, you can make the body supple. You might not know this Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu and all that. That is okay. But what you're doing is you're aligning it. You're aligning all the 5 elements. Yes. So wherever you read and whoever said is correct. Okay. So shall we end then? If we are done. Tomorrow we are not meeting. We can again meet up on Friday, same time.